Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon, and then I post it up to Facebook. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka, done. I'd like to thank my sponsor, BetterHelp, BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. They're an online therapy company. They are international. They are everywhere in the world. So if you need to get to a therapist, master's level or PhD level, go to BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. They have different ways of doing therapy. They do video. They also do chatting. So that is, thank you. That is that. The dogs are playing. Okay, so what was I going to say? So obviously I'm in a hotel room. So I am in Corvallis, Oregon now, visiting La Familia, which is awesome. And the dogs just got done playing with their cousins, I would guess. So anyway, that is that. Tons of questions. What am I going to tell you? Oh yeah, Salt Lake City. So I will be in Salt Lake City August 26th. It is on chrisgodinez.com if you wish to get tickets. So there it is. And I will tell you where it is going to be once the ticket is purchased. So there is that. Okay, Salt Lake City, August 26th from 2 to 4. Purchase the ticket, then I will tell you where it is. So anyway, there is that. Okay, let's dive into the questions. My ex keeps using his children from another marriage to keep me in touch with him. What do? I really love them. Okay. So this is more common than I like. So something that abusers will do is that they'll, marry multiple times, obviously, and they'll get the spouse to fall in love with the kids because the kids are lovable. And then they break up, and then they use the children as a way to keep that spouse connected. So really, that's a sticky wicket, and that is a hard one to answer. So there's a couple of things you could do. You could just figure, okay, I'm going to have to see this jerk when I go see the kids, or you just cut yourself off completely. And that's going to be hard because I know you love the kids. So it's kind of like, it's a Kobayashi Maru. There's no way to win. There is no way to win. Seriously. It's like either you keep having to see this abuser in order to stay in touch with the kids, which you may or may not be able to influence, because remember, children, if they side with an abuser, are doing the whole siding with the aggressor thing in order to stay safe. So you may or may not be able to influence it. It depends on how old the children are. It really does. Since they're not your children legally, I mean, you're taking care of them, you love them, they're your children, but legally they're not your child. They belong to some other woman and this guy, or, whatever. It's a really, legally, you don't have any rights, which sucks, unless you can prove both of them are abusing and neglectful. And even at that, you'd be hard pressed to get the rights taken away and you'd be able to get the kids. So really, it's a hard situation. You have to decide what is going to be best for you and what's going to be best for the kids. If it's going to be best for the kids for you to be the sane touchstone that they can have, and if you can handle having to see the ex, okay, well, there it is. You kind of got to know, okay, well, that's the way it's going to be so that I can be there for those kids. If, however, the ex is just abusive, you can't deal with him, he's horrible, and it's hurting your mental health, and you cannot help those children, then you need to cut off all contact. Now, if the kids are, able to talk to you openly and you can kind of help guide them, then that's a different situation. But if they're siding with the aggressor, if it's dangerous for you to be around the ex, then don't do it. You can't. They're not legally your kids. And legally, you can't help them unless you can prove that there's abuse or neglect going on. And even at that, like I said, the state will come in and take them, and they'll find a relative to put them with, which I'm just sitting here going, if they're abusive and the relatives were abusive, where do you think they learned it from? Don't get me started. Anyway, so yeah, that is a tough one. It's a no-win. So you either have to just be like, look, I'm doing this for the kids. They need a touchstone. I can help them. But here's the thing. Make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons. Like, those kids are helpable. And sometimes the kids are not helpable, especially if they're aligned with the abuser. You know, they've made the decision that they're going to side with the abuser, that kind of thing. If they start abusing you, you know, that kind of thing. And you got to be very careful, because abusers will use the kid to get you to come, right, so that they have an excuse to see you. But then they can also start accusing you of everything that they think is wrong with the kid. Well, it's your fault that the child is doing X, Y, and Z. So you've got to be very, very careful. Excuse me. Allergies are just through the roof. This is why I cannot live in Oregon. Oh my God. So you've got to be very, very careful, because there's always an ulterior motive, you know. Narcissists are always looking for a scapegoat. Narcissists are always looking for somebody to blame. And if there's problems between the narcissist and the ex that had these kids, they'll make you out to be the bad guy. So you've got to think about these types of things. It's like, okay, is there any way I can be of a real help, you know, or is there a way I can maybe stay in touch with the kids without having to go with the ex being around? So yeah, that's a sticky wicket. I would honestly talk to a social worker about that situation and see what can be done, because legally you don't really have much to stand on, if anything. So, and again, it's going to be a matter of safety. Is it safe for the kids? Is it safe for you? And if it's not, then don't do it. If the kids need you, they need that sane person, then do it. But just know that you're going to be having to gray rock and not play the games that this abuser is going to do. And he'll withhold the kids, just like abusers do with anybody else's kids. You know, I'm going to withhold them. I'm going to use them as a pawn. I'm going to blah, blah, blah. So just be aware. Be aware of the game and really weigh it out. Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Will it really help the kids, or will it really not? So yeah, that's a tough one. Oy. Okay, let's go to the next question. What is magic thinking? Okay. Magic thinking is what narcissists engage in, okay? They expect automatic compliance with their wants, needs, desires, or wishes, okay? And they lie, and they expect everybody around them to just agree with that lie. It's kind of like the emperor's new clothes. So I don't know if you remember that fairy tale where the emperor gets bamboozled by these seamstress people, or, you know, tailors. And they make the emperor these invisible clothes, and they go on and on about how fabulous they are. And so the emperor goes out in public, and he fully expects everyone to just agree with him how fabulous this, you know, clothes are. And he was really naked. So it's the emperor's new clothes. It's like, even in the face of logic, even in the face of contrary evidence, the narcissist will insist that their way of thinking is 100% right. Everybody else is wrong. They're right. You know, this is the way. No, this lie that I've said is absolutely the truth. And if you disagree with them, they come unhinged. So that's magic thinking. They know they're lying. They know on some level that that they're naked. You know, they know that this is not true, but they demand that you agree with them no matter what. That's magic thinking. So just because they want it to be true, they say it's true because they want it to be true, and it's not true. And a healthy, normal person, well, it's gaslighting. So they gaslight. That's magic thinking. You know, it's like, you know, they just said something, and then you call them on it, and they go, I never said that. That's magic thinking. And they're lying, and they know they're lying, and they want you to agree with their lie. So magic thinking is when it's like a child, you know, pulling up a blanket and going, if I can't see the monster can't see me. That's magic thinking. The monster absolutely can see you. You know, just because you hide your head does not mean the monster cannot see you. So magic thinking is illogical. It's very immature. It's a my way or the highway. No, no, no. I'm lying, and I know I'm lying, but I want it to be true. So I'm going to keep repeating it, and I'm going to convince you that it's the truth, even though it's not. That's magic thinking. So, because no matter how many times you repeat a lie, it's still a lie. Even if you can get everybody in the room to agree, oh, look at these fabulous clothes, when you're naked, you're still naked. Do you see where I'm going with that? So yeah, Emperor's New Clothes. It's a good fairy tale. So that's magic thinking. And they do it to gaslight, they do it to manipulate, they do it to lie, they do it to, rewrite history, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they do want their lies to be true. They do. They absolutely, truly do want their lies to be true. And that's why they repeat them multiple times. And that's why they look for validation outside. Tell me I'm right. Tell me I'm right. Tell me I'm right. As opposed to internal invalidation. So an internal validation, not invalidation. So that's what's going on. So that is magic thinking. So there is that. I am in the middle of leaving the abuse. My memory is shot. What is going on? Okay, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. When you are at survival and you're at hyper alertness and you are at anxiety that would kill a mere mortal, your memory is going to be shot. It is, because you're dealing with the anxiety, you're dealing with the depression, you're dealing with the abuse, you're dealing with the cognitive dissonance. That's a lot of it, the cognitive dissonance. Incoming information is not matching what you had hoped. So their original way of being was what you fell in love with, and yet here they are being this way. And so it causes your brain to go plop, pop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is. Seriously, it just goes, blah, 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 and it's like kicks out information that we don't remember, dissociating. That could be all of it. So what I would strongly suggest is a couple of things. 1, get with a really good trauma therapist. 2, go get a complete and total physical. Let's rule out any physical reasons for memory loss. Want to make sure to do that. And 3, remember, post-traumatic stress disorder, CPTSD, cognitive dissonance, this is all a huge drain on the body, and it's a huge mental drain. And leaving abuse is a huge mental drain. So you want to take as good care of yourself as you possibly can. That means eating right, drinking plenty of water, getting enough sleep, getting support. Make sure you've got a support group that's supporting you. So yeah, your memory is going to be shot. It is. And we have this tendency to do this denial and we do abuse amnesia, and we can't remember the abuse, which is why it's really important to write it down so that when your mind starts going, oh, it wasn't that bad, you can look back and go, mother clucker, yes, it was. So write things down. That's going to help. But I do want you to get a physical. And I do want you to get with a good trauma therapist, because this is part and parcel of PTSD. It really is. It's like dissociating, not remembering key events, short-term memory loss, yeah. So get with a good trauma therapist. Read CPTSD From Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker. Work on your self-esteem workbook, Lynn Schiraldi. Self-care like a boss. You really got to do self-care. When you're leaving an abuser, it's super important to take good care of yourself. So there is that. Okay. Can you explain the difference between restraining orders and injunctions? How do they work? Okay. Let me see if I get this straight. In Arizona, anyway, an injunction is when they are not related to you. I think I have that right. Oh, I may not have that right. Hold on just 1 second. Arizona restraining order or injunction. There we go. Let's look this up. Okay, you may know them as restraining orders if you come from other states, but in Arizona's they are called orders of protections and injunctions against harassment. They are orders from a court prohibiting a person from having contact with another person, protected minors, being in certain places, and possessing firearms. So one is for, and I don't know which one is which, one is for if you are related to them, like it's a spouse. The other one is for against a total stranger. And as I said, the Supreme Idiot Court, in their infinite stupidity, has made it more and more difficult for a person to get a restraining order. And I am opposed to that immensely, because they're now saying it's subjective instead of objective. And which I'm just like, that makes absolutely zero sense to me. And if the intent wasn't there, that you cannot consider that harassment. Well, I'm sorry. If somebody sends me a threatening email, text, whatever, and it says anything about dying or effing off permanently, I'm going to take that as a threat. You damn straight. Because perception is everything. And my perception is that's a threat. So you want to make sure to write your senators and let them know this is not okay. This is absolutely devastating and dangerous for those of us who've had dark triads stalk us. And it's not subjective. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something with authority, because I know, because I had it happen to me. If somebody tells you that they are going to do something, they're probably going to do it, especially if they're a dark triad. Okay? If somebody says, I'm going to make your life a living hell, they're going to try. If somebody says, I'm going to hurt you, they're going to try, because they're dark triads, because they're psychopaths, they're narcissists, and they're control freaks. And if they think they can get what they need or want by intimidation, they will. And I think it's a crime that the Supreme Idiot Court, morons. I'll tell you something. If somebody had written a threatening note against them, you bet your sweet bippy that they would have that person in jail. But because it's having to do with domestic violence, and because it has to do with political stuff, they want to make it harder for people to say that it was harassment or whatever. No, this is not good. This is a slippery slope, and this is dangerous, because domestic violence victims are the ones that are going to suffer. The ones who've had crazies, like psychopaths, go after them are the ones that are going to suffer, not anybody else. It's going to be the people who are truly in fear and in danger for their lives. So, yeah, those are used when you are being stalked and harassed. And now they're saying, oh, well, he didn't mean to. Oh, that wasn't his intent. Okay, well, gee, is it really not going to be intent when they show up to the door and shoot somebody? Well, I didn't mean to shoot them. Don't charge me with murder. I didn't mean to shoot them. I just wanted to threaten them. I just wanted to scare them. I just wanted them back. So I just wanted to. Do you see where I'm going with that? This is dangerous. This is absolutely dangerous. We need to write letters to the Supreme Court, and we need to write letters to the senators, because this is unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Okay, let's see. One more question. Let's see if I can get back over here. Whoops, what did I do? No, that's not where I wanted to go. There we go. All right, let's get back over to this. Thank you for doing the show on smearing. It made so much sense. Yeah, unfortunately it does. So when you first get hit by a smear campaign, it is shocking, and it is disheartening to see who believes the BS, But once you understand why it's being done and who's doing it and who believes it and who doesn't, it starts making a lot of sense. So if you have not watched my show on why the smear, you might want to go back and watch it, because they do. In every single case, they do a smear campaign. They try to make you look bad and try to make you look like the crazy, or try to make you look like the problem, as opposed to them. So, and it is a popularity contest. So go back and watch that show, Why the Smear, and that will explain it. So anyway, glad to be of help. All right, so I am going to be in Salt Lake City, August 26th, between 2 and 4. Get your tickets on chrisgodinas.com. Next week's show, oh gosh, what am I talking about next week? Hold on. I'm going to pull that up. There that is. Boop. Next week's show, a case of nerves. So we're going to be talking about anxiety. We're going to be talking about what to do, why we've got such bad anxiety when we leave an abusive relationship, whether that is a familial relationship or a work situation or a romantic situation. So we're going to be talking about anxiety and how to kind of recognize it, deal with it, mitigate it, overcome it. So that's where we're going to be talking about. All right, guys, go have a great night, and I will talk to you later. Bye.